Twitter's a really interesting phenomenon, and I look forward to seeing how we feel about it 2 years from now. When it started a few years ago, the idea was simply this, that I could share my status using a mobile phone or my computer with a group of friends. So I could say that I'm going off to the pub now, does anyone want to join me? As long as that took less than 140 characters. And if my friends saw this on their mobile phones, which is how it was originally being used, then they could pop down to the pub and join me there. What it's rapidly evolved into in the past year is a place where there are conversations going on, where there are huge whales like Ashton Kutcher, who has 1.5 million followers, and Oprah, who's 500,000 followers, and Ellen DeGeneres, who has 1 million followers. People who have a big media presence already and who've managed to turn that into a loyal fan base online. I should obviously include Stephen Fry in there for the. And at the other end, there are a whole load of people who have somewhere between 30 and 40 followers who have a completely different experience of what Twitter's about. So it's become somewhere where, as I say, I can have a conversation, I can direct a remark to you or respond to something that you've said. I can send you a direct message that nobody else can see, and I can join in a broader conversation by using these things called hashtags, where you put in a little hash and then a word after it. So I could, for example, have a conversation about bacon, and I could join in a global conversation about bacon by adding the word #bacon to my tweet. It's a very limited haiku-like conversation because you only have 140 characters to work in, and that tends to sort of make things rather pithier than your usual blog post, which can ramble on for pages. One of the best ways of working with this is to sort of use it in this listen and respond type influence and list type strategy. But we see that most companies, when they go online on Twitter for the first time, use this mostly as a way of broadcasting. Now, that's been done very successfully. So Dell, for example, has made already, or in fact a few months ago, made their first $1 million selling PCs over Twitter, effectively. So they would run special offers only for people who followed them on Twitter. It was a very smart way of working, and as I say, they very quickly shifted $1 million worth of units. Newspapers and online news sources also use this as a way of making sure that their news stories, or their most interesting news stories, get in front of people. And I still do that for myself. I will, as I publish a new blog post, I'll make sure that it goes on Twitter, that there is this new blog post, so that I can try and get a slightly larger audience. And I've been able to grow my audiences quite nicely by doing that. But that's very much a broadcast mentality. What's interesting is looking out for mentions of your brand and then responding to that. So Dell, for example, has not only got this Dell outlet which pushes deals onto Twitter, but also has a bunch of people who are listening for people who are having problems with their Dell and responding to them, getting them involved, getting them engaged. And the same works for all sorts of clients. Our client at Porter Novelli, Spinvox, James Watley is their social media manager, and he keeps an absolute sort of close eye on people who are having either positive or negative experiences, and quickly sort of trying to address those.